Welcome to the February 26th meeting of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District Board of Directors. Before we do the pledge, I would just like to take a moment and welcome back our former missing in action. And we're so happy to have you back. You look great, and I hope everything is going well in your recovery. And it's exciting to have you here. We're all really
Exciting for
stoked.
me to be back.
Probably more exciting for you than the rest of us. So thank you and welcome back, Arlene. So if you'd all rise and join me in saluting the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Vice Secretary, would you give us a word, please?
Yes. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Bob. Okay, if we could have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Director Brett Eccles, Vice Secretary Robert Uten,
Here.
Secretary Arthur Perry,
Here.
Vice President Arlene Schaefer,
Here,
and President Mike Schaefer.
Here, thank you. Any late communications for us this evening?
No, Mr. President.
And I don't believe we have any ceremonial matters.
No, sir.
Public comments, this is the time for folks in the audience to make comments within our subject matter that are not on the agenda. And ask if anyone from the public wishes to speak at this moment. Okay, did you,
I'm sorry, you're on item, she's going to speak on the item on the agenda.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome to speak under public comments now, but we have you on the agenda. So- No, don't, no apology needed. Okay, closing public comments. Next item is a consent calendar. Any members from staff or the board that wish to pull an item? I'll move for approval. You?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one absence. We have no public hearings this evening to deliberate, so we'll go to the general manager's report. And Scott, we'll let you take that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So this is regarding the board's decision to approve and deny claim by Ms. Karen Millard that used to own a property at 1022 West Wilson Street. So back in September, Ms. Millard brought to our attention that the district has been overcharging this property for quite some time, for nearly 20 years. And after we went and inspected the property, we determined she was correct, and we were. And so according to our policy, we have a district policy that will refund people who have been overcharged 3 to 4 years. And that is based on case law that cites statute of limitations. And these case laws all cite 3 years as the statute of limitations. So that's why we adopted our policy as 3 years. So we issued a check to Ms. Millard for $855.40. She does not agree with staff's decisions. She did submit a claim in small claims court. We did meet in mediation. We did not come to a resolution, but I did recommend or suggest to Ms. Millard that the board, you are the ultimate authority. You have the authority to override staff's decision. You override the policies. And I suggested that she can plead her case to the board. And if you want to side with her, that's your discretion. So I invited her to tonight's meeting, and I think she does want to speak to the board tonight. So that concludes my presentation.
Discussion from the board. Question. So what word am I what's the total amount that it's Millard, correct? Yeah, that Ms. Millard is asking for.
Total about it's over $5,000. Since staff reported, it's $5,866.36.
Any other questions from the board? Then we'll take public comment, and now's your turn to get up and speak. What are my notes? I'm sorry.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Karen Millard, and I own the house at 1022 West Wilson Street for the last 9 years. Prior to that, my father owned the house since 1997, and I'm the sole inheritor of his estate. Last September, I discovered that the sanitary district had been charging us as a 2-unit property, which it is not, resulting in double charges for trash and higher sewer charges each year. As you know, the charges appear on the county property tax bill as a line item with no explanation or breakdown of charges. In fact, the source of these charges, the sanitary district, doesn't even appear on the property tax bill. The sanitary district is hidden from customer view under 3 layers of bureaucracy. The phone number listed on the property tax bill next to the charges is the SCI Consulting Group. The charges appear and payment is due to the County of Orange. And the CR&R, of course, is the company that actually provides the trash service. There's never a statement of charges from the sanitary district or CR&R sent to the customer, so there's no way for the customer to check charges. Your customers do not know how to check their charges. You do not inform your customers that their charges are based on how many units are on their lot. You don't inform your customers how many units you are charging them for. You don't inform them of the rates. Because of the way you've structured your billing collection, the normal guardrails which would have prevented this mistake from continuing for over 2 decades were not there. As your neighbor, I am respectfully requesting a refund for these overpayments. Now, I can cite court cases very similar to mine where the judge ruled in favor of the plaintiff, and I can cite legal rules that also make my case. But what it really comes down to is whether or not you are committed to act honestly and ethically according to your CMSD core values. It is neither ethical nor honest to keep overpayments. According to the generally accepted accounting principles, which your operations code compels you to follow, overpayments cannot be kept. They must be credited or refunded. It can't be both ways. You cannot fail to ensure you're correctly charging and fail to provide customers with a statement of charges so that they can ensure that they're being correctly charged. These charges are not small, and you have failed your mandatory duty to the public that you serve. In good faith and trust for public entities such as the Costa Mesa Sanitary District, my father and I dutifully overpaid yearly trash and sewer assessments for over 2 decades, and now it's time to restore trust and return to me what is mine. This would not be a gift of public funds because you cannot gift someone something that is theirs to begin with. I have a business card from a litigator who's willing to take this case to civil litigation as soon as I agree to it. But even without accelerating this case, if the small claims court judge rules in my favor, I could be entitled to a 7% legal rate of interest when the debtor is a government agency, which means the district would then owe me $14,000. Without my consent, I essentially gave an interest-free loan to the Costa Mesa Sanitary District, and it was not my mistake, but yours. Please do the right thing and return the money to the family it rightfully belongs to. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Which attachment it was, bear with me just a moment, staff. There was a list of, oh, there it is. It's attachment 3. Which line items from year 209 to 223, the overpayments. There you go, right there. Those overpayments were determined from what the charges would have been during that calendar year and what was paid. Is that correct?
Those are the payments that were on her property tax bill that was during those years. So that's what we.
Was that the full amount that we billed? I'm sorry, Mrs. Millard. I hate to do this. I have to go.
Creation, and I believe that it was just trash charges. it was kind of an evolving thing as I was finding out, oh my goodness, it's not just trash I'm being overcharged for, it's sewer assessments too. Yeah.
So-
A more accurate accounting, if you'd like to see that.
At this point, no. I just want to make sure that this are the excess charges, not the full charges, correct?
No, I mean, the full charges would be included, the wastewater and the wastewater and solid waste charges, which totals $5,800.
Okay, so in the statement, she'd indicated that reflect overcharges from the sanitary district. So we would have been compensated for what the regular charges are, and these are only the excess above what should have been charged during that year.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't remember what the charges for a single family household was in 2009. I have to go back on it, but
I'm asking that.
yeah,
I mean,
that I don't
do
know.
we have the ability to
Yes, I could, yeah,
determine?
yeah, I could do that, yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you a
Sure, Mr.
question.
President, do you want the speaker to correspond with you?
Yeah,
You're actually right,
If you're gonna correspond, Ms. Millard, I'll need you to go to the microphone because we record our meetings.
President recognizes speakers that have the floor.
The question I'm gonna give you is where did you ascertain those charges? And I need you to go up here.
Your permission, I'll approach you with the rate tables.
I don't really need to see them. I think, I just want to know where you got them. Did you go on our website to get those charges? Did you
Rate
go to the
tables,
county?
rate tables from 2013 through the current are on the website. Rate tables prior to that were not available, and I went through the accountant and the accountant sent it to me.
The accounts extended to you?
Our accountant.
Your
Our-
Oh,
accountant.
our
So
staff.
we provided her those
Yes.
numbers.
Yes.
Okay, that's really what I was looking for, so thank you. Counselor, by statute, our procedure is 3 years, correct?
Yes.
And we've been consistent with that with other overcharges.
Yes, we have. And it could be less than 3 years. 3 years is the most. And I
Right.
believe, yeah, I believe the manager had offered something that may have been slightly more than 3 years. So, yeah, that would be the most we could.
That what the eight something was more than 3 years?
Was it more than 3?
No, that was 3 years.
3, okay.
We could go 4 years into the COBA, but we're gonna go on the last existing year, past 3 years, but she sold the property, so therefore she didn't own the property in the last year. So that's why we went the last 3 years.
Okay. Bob, do you have a question? Anybody else? All right, then I will ask the board what your pleasure is. Anybody?
I do have a question. You said that she sold the property in 2022 or 2023?
Thank you.
Just to clarify, yes, the property was sold October 2023, so I had to pay most of the year's property
You
tax.
paid the portion amount.
Don't go away. I have a question for you. I'm sorry. Sorry about these gymnastics, but like I said, for public transparency, we have to, we record everything.
Understood.
So during the years prior to when you discovered that we were overcharging, how did you discover that we were overcharging? When you did figure out that we were overcharging, what made you discover the fact we were overcharging?
I called CR&R and asked for a bulky item pickup, and they said, for which unit? And I said, for which unit? Okay, it's just a single family residence, so I don't know what you're talking about. I asked them, how am I being billed? And they said, we don't handle the billing. That's from the Costa Mesa Sanitary District. So then I got in touch with your accountant and who confirmed that the overcharging had been taking place.
So had you not needed that bulky item pickup, you would have still, you'd have never known.
Unless I spoke with neighbors and maybe compared trash rates, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think
That's
most
what I'm
neighbors,
saying.
I don't think most people
It's-
are gonna do that.
Yes, it's beyond the reasonable diligence of a customer, to be able to discover this mistake.
If we were to extend a large payout, Counselor, what gives us the right to do that?
I'm not sure you have the right to either make a decision. The issue is there a gift of public funds, and is that in keeping with your oath and the ordinance you've put in place? And that's really the issue. If the shoe were on the other foot and a citizen owed us for 6 years, we couldn't go after the money. There's, statute of limitations for every cause of action.
Yeah, yeah. In other words, if it was truly a two-family or a two-unit situation and we'd been charging for one, we couldn't go back and retroactively charge someone for that, could we?
That's right.
All right, I'm looking for some kind of action from the board. Anybody?
I'll make a motion that we deny the claim and give her 3 years.
You mentioned, Scott, that we could go back 4 years. Okay. Would you amend that to offer 4 years?
No, because she didn't own the property that 4th year.
Okay.
I own the property for 9 years.
Oh, the 4 years so we can go back. Is that correct?
Yeah, so she sold the property in 23-24 October. That's the 23-24 fiscal year. So by that time, we did not receive the revenues from the county in October. We received it in November. So that's why she didn't pay her assessments for 23-24.
That was my point. She didn't pay the assessments for that 4th year.
I think she paid a partial assessment when she sold it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion to deny the request from the applicant. Is
I'd
there a
like to make a secondary motion. This happens so rarely. I would like to make the secondary motion that we pay her the full amount of $5,866.36. I think it's a correct way to conclude this process without her having to do any more, without us having to potentially suffer litigation. It'll quickly eat, the attorney fees on both sides quickly eat up that amount. I think in my 16, 18 years on the board, this has only happened one other time.
It happened many times, like 20 years ago, because we went back to get those payments back to those people for those 3 years.
So we have a substitute motion to return the full amount of her request. Is there a second to that one? All right, dies for lack of a second. Do we have a second for the original motion to deny
I'll move it,
on the first,
the first
on
one,
the denial?
yes.
Okay. Further discussion? Then I'll ask for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. So we have a 2-2 vote, Counselor.
Oh, 2-2, it doesn't pass then. I thought there was 3. Oh, okay. 2-2, yeah. So you've taken no action.
Take no action at this point.
We have a 5th board member back. But I think we need to revisit this.
If I may, we do have a trial date for this Wednesday. So You can wait till after small claims court what they decide.
The small claims court.
Small claims, yeah.
holiday. That's a maximum of $2,000.
No, no.
5,000, right?
Okay, I'm
And went up
living
a
in the
little.
past.
You go up to 10,000, I think, yeah.
Next 10.
Okay, then I'm.
So that's what we're gonna have to do at this point is wait until your small claims. And depending on that. If, what happens either way with small claims? If she's denied, she can come back to us and request it,
No, if she's denied, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. If she wins, then you can appeal that.
okay. So then at this point, we're gonna have to wait to see what your small claims decision is.
Great, just so you know, I also can withdraw the small claims and have the civil
Yes.
litigator come in
Yes,
and kick it up.
yeah, I think we all understand that, right? Okay. All right, thank you for your time. Okay, let's move to item number 2. Scott?
Thank you, Mr. President. Caitlin Tran's going to give this report.
Hi, Caitlin.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the board. In front of you is the mid-year budget review for fiscal year 2023-24. As of December 31st, 2023, a total of 40% of the solid waste budget was expended. At this time, staff anticipates a budgetary savings of $15,000 by the end of the year, mainly due to savings in maintenance and operations. A total of 43% of the wastewater fund's operating budget has been expended. Staff anticipates a budgetary savings of $140,000 from the personnel, maintenance, and operations account. In November, the district received 55% of the solid waste and wastewater annual charges assessment revenues. This is the normal percentage apportionment the district receives for the quarter. The next apportionment will be in April. Please see the attached analysis report for more detail. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Caitlin. Questions? Anybody for Caitlin? Okay, there's no action required. This is just a receive and file, I think.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for your report. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item 3, the Christmas tree collection program.
Thank you, Mr. President. Marissa Paredo's giving this report.
Good evening, President, members of the board. So tonight we're going to go over a summary of the Christmas tree collection program for 2024. So as you know, each year district trash customers can place their Christmas trees curbside for collection. Historically, trees have been collected for 12 days, beginning the day after Christmas. This is the first year that tree collection started the day following New Year's Day. So there were 2 dedicated trucks collecting trees for the first 10 days of that collection window. And then the final 2 days, the organics drivers collected trees along with organics carts. So last year, the district did hire a third-party contractor to collect trees to supplement CR&R's collection due to issues with collection the previous year. This year, CR&R did guarantee that they were committed to collecting trees and that the district did not need to hire a third party to assist with that. In total, 6,207 trees were collected. The district did receive 34 missed pickup complaints. CR&R did return the day following the receipt of the complaint to collect the tree. There were 2 customers who reported that a second missed pickup or reported a second missed pickup. CR&R did send someone out immediately to collect those trees. The district pays the organics recycling rate of $81.66 per ton to recycle the Christmas trees that are collected. In total, 31.19 tons were collected, which means there was a total cost of $2,546.98 for the program this year. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Was there any indication or any note about why trees weren't picked up? I think we all know they were probably flock trees or had stands or, you know, the wrapping that people leave on it. That's still pretty consistent.
It's really hard to say. It could be a few things. It could be that a tree maybe wasn't put out on time. It could be that the driver just missed that location for some reason. I mean, that does happen. There wasn't anything reported as far as like truck problems or driver problems where they weren't out for an entire day. Just more of, you know, one house or a few
Are
houses where
you saying that people forgot to put the tree out?
it happens.
Does that happen?
It happens.
I'd made a comment, I think last time we talked about this. I had a couple people in my neighborhood that the tree was sitting on the stand in the street, straight up. You know, a couple of them had the flocking or whatever they call that
Yeah.
stuff on it, you know? So, I think this has been a huge improvement this year. I mean, enormous improvement in what's happened in the last couple of years, so.
Yes.
Essentially two people that missed it overall. That ain't bad for 6,300 trees, as far as I'm concerned.
Good communication.
People must have got the message, I think, so.
Well, historically, some of my neighbors have said that the city has something that identifies a different pickup time or longer pickup time. And so I would just suggest that the staff research the city because one of my neighbors one year put it out past our time, but it was because he said the city gives it a different time. Now, I don't know why the city would be doing that, but I suggest at least we do some research to
Sure.
why or if that's true.
Are you just referring to the city promoting our program, but with the incorrect dates?
I'm not sure.
Okay, okay, I can research.
The city's not picking up trees.
No,
Maybe in the alley, I mean, they have the one truck that goes around and picks up stuff in some of the alleys and they wouldn't pick up a
Multi-
tree.
If something's
maybe-
illegally
maybe
done,
maybe
but-
multifamily.
Oh,
I don't know.
oh, okay, yeah, it could be.
I'll look into it.
I have a comment.
Mhm.
Just based on these two graphs. Tons collected in 2024, only 31.19 tons, but we collected more trees.
Yes, I did inquire with CRNR and the most likely answer is because there was an additional week between, or trees were put out 1 week later than they usually were. There was additional time for them to dry out or lose needles or limbs, and that the tonnage accounts for that. There wasn't any other kind of big thing that would account for that decrease in tonnage.
Notice that. I just.
Yeah,
bring
it
that
was
to your attention.
interesting.
Trees are getting cheaper and lighter, that's what it is.
It's possible
not
too,
big.
yeah. They're just
Probably
lighter.
not. I noticed that, I mean, when you go to the.
They're just drying out faster.
That's true. Just
I saw some pretty brown trees.
You're not supposed to tell an insurance agent that the trees are drying out quicker. That doesn't work. So, okay, good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Why did we refresh me on why we waited a week?
I think last year it was reported that collection that first week immediately following Christmas was very light and that most people weren't putting them out until the following week anyway.
People do wait till after New Year's generally, right?
Right. We did have, I think, 2 customers that put in a missed pickup complaint, but it was during that week that it wasn't taking place. But those were the only 2 that we received that week.
Good. All right, moving along. Mr. Engineer.
Thank you, Honorable Board. I guess I'll be silent on my engineer's report, except to say that the February 4th through 6th rainstorm that we had quite a bit of inflow during those dates. The high was 3.8%. I just received the calculations for the February 18th through 20th storm, and we really only had one 24-hour period that included right about 1 inch of rainfall. So we calculated the inflow for that particular day and it was 1.1%. So I guess I'm going to say that February 4th through the 6th storm was a pretty big storm and we did have quite a bit of inflow during that period of time. Unless you guys have, unless the board has other questions, that concludes my report, but I'm happy to answer anything you might have other than that.
Yes, Bob?
Staff, it was reported probably in the general manager's report that staff go out and look for known flood areas. That coordinated with the city's storm drain plan.
Well, I don't know what storm drain plan you're referring to, but I will say that our wastewater staff has a list of low points that typically get inundated and have ponded water during rainstorms. And I know that prior to the February 4th, 5th, and 6th storm, our general manager sent the wastewater crews to go verify that everything was plugged at those known ponding points throughout the city.
Well, I'm saying that their city strategic plan identifies all places where there's more than X number of inches above the curb, which means our manholes in the gutter would be. So it's just another cross-check to what, potential cross-check to what staff think they're doing. And they may be using that piece of information.
Yeah, I think that's the map that I'm referring to, but I haven't physically done it myself. Scott, are you,
No, we have a GIS map that shows where all the streets have historically flooded, and that's where we focus on when we hear about these big storms coming in.
Maybe on top, sound like you're on top of it.
Question, update, can you give us an update on Adams Pump Station?
yes, the project there's an agenda item asking for certain actions tonight, and so I'll cover most of it there, but I'll say that we're supposed to be having bid open this coming Wednesday, and I'm looking to work with you and our general manager on being able to make an award. So give me a second here, and I'll get to that item next. Anything else on my report or anything you might want to ask me regarding general engineering here?
Go to item 2 then.
Okay. Adams Avenue Sewer Grade 5 replacement. As you recall, and as we've discussed in the past, and in fact, I think this board made a project back in November for us so that we could design and make this replacement in Adams Avenue because the city has a paving project that is supposed to start April 1st. We were supposed to do a bid opening last week or so ago, and even that would have been tight to bring a contract back to you if it was more than $125,000. But I will say that I got concerned over time that we might hit a groundwater situation, and I was concerned that what happened on Paularino could happen here. We're about 400 feet from the Santa Ana River, going down deep. And so I guess I'll say probably last minute, but I wanted to do some soils work and confirm, do we or don't we have groundwater? Because all the research that RBH, they could not find whether there was or was not groundwater. We retained a soils firm to bore down about 24 feet. They found groundwater about 2 feet above our pipe. So now we know definitively there is water. And so that resulted in an addendum in order to place an item on the bidding for dewatering the last 2 feet of the excavation so that we can have I guess I'll say a bid price. I'd rather get a bid price and deal from unknown situations reporting or resulting from that rather than not having a bid item and then having an unknown situation that doesn't have anything. So at least we know how deep the water is. They know, the contractors have direction of what they can and can't do. It's up to them to design the system. And so I think we've taken as much risk as I could take out of that project from a change order perspective. And so I guess I would ask you for a couple of things today. Number one, or let me back up and say that I initially reported that this particular item had an engineer's estimate of like $115,000, which would have been under the general manager's delegation of authority. As a result of the dewatering item, I believe that is an extra $10,000, so that puts us right at the general manager's delegation of authority. In fact, if it's $25,000 or above, it comes back to this board for making the award. Unfortunately, because bids don't open till this Wednesday, and I need to get the work done before the end of March, I don't have time to come back to the March Board of Directors meeting. I just don't have the time. And I'd prefer not to wait for our board study session to award this project. So I'm going to ask for 2 or 3 things today. Number one, I want to ask you to adopt Project 351 Adams Avenue, number 138303, grade 5 sewer replacement as categorically exempt per CEQA section 15302 class 2. Second thing I want to ask you for tonight is to delegate authority to the general manager to award a contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder in the amount not to exceed $140,000. I want to ask of you to approve a 10% contingency in the amount not to exceed $14,000 and direct staff to bring this item for ratification to the Board of Directors March 2024 meeting. Let me say that I'm hoping this project will be completed before the March meeting. And that way we won't interfere with the city's very large repaving project on Adams Avenue. So with that being said, I'm prepared to answer any questions you might have.
Have we received any bids yet?
No, we have not. And even if I did, because we will open them all at once and read them all at once, I wouldn't have a number for you anyway.
When is the closing date? Is it?
It's this coming Wednesday, 10 a.m. And we'll have the bids at that point in time, and we'll announce them in this room aloud.
Okay, so I think the engineer's asking for the 4 items. Do those need to be done separately, or can we do them all as a package? Separately?
Separately, please.
All right. Anybody want to start this?
We have to do them separately?
Yes.
Guess you're looking for somebody who can do it. Okay, Mark, tell me what the first item is.
Yeah, you can just simply say approve the categorical exemption.
Right there, Bob.
Oh, I see. Okay, approve item number 1. I make a motion that we approve item number 1. Adopt, you can all read it up there.
Yeah, a motion to accept the
I'll
CEQA
second
determination.
the motion.
Sequence.
Second the motion.
Discussion, all those in favor?
I
Opposed?
make a motion that.
Wait, I have to report that it was a vote of 4-0 with one absent. Now you can go.
I'll make a motion that we approve the general manager award for the lowest responsive and responsible bidder in the amount not to exceed $140,000. And I would like to add number 3, which is a contingency of $14,000.
You can do 2, 3, and 4 together.
Before included in that?
Yes.
All right.
Direct staff to bring the item of ratification to the Board of Directors meeting, March 2024. If you need it earlier for some reason, then we can meet on a special meeting.
Well, I'm just asking right now, now that you've approved item number 1 and we've accepted CEQA, I'm asking you to approve items 2, 3, and 4. And if you do that, I can come back during the regular March meeting. The only time I'm going to get in trouble is if the estimate is over, if the lowest bid comes in over $140,000.
Do you think that's a possibility?
I don't know. I don't believe it is. I believe based on our experience with Red Hill, with American, and a couple other projects, I believe that we will be somewhere in the $120,000 to $130,000 range.
Wouldn't it be wiser just to make it 150, just in case, so we don't have to come back again.
I would accept that as a motion.
I would make that motion. Just move it to 150 just in case, because we haven't seen the bids yet.
So that would mean that item 2 would be 150, item 3 would be 15.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
I
so
mean, I think that's a smart move.
I'll
just in
second
case.
that.
okay, we have a motion and a second to accept with those changes. Right.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 4-0 with 1 absence. All right, you're all set.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Mr. President. My next item is basically, we've had several projects that were unanticipated this year, and the CIP budget has taken a toll. For example, American Avenue, we had to pay, was it $60,000-$70,000 to make that repair. I now have Iowa Grade 5 liner project that is an unanticipated capital repair. And then I've got a new project, number 53, that I'll be going into in a little bit here, that could be very expensive depending on further investigations. I found out today we might have another issue on 16th Street. And so these unanticipated projects keep showing up, and I think partly because of the rainfall and other things. In addition, as an example, we had the City 309, City of Newport Beach project, which is a city manhole raise to grade project. The County of Orange is doing a project down off of Irvine and Mesa, and we have to raise several manholes to grade there. And then I believe there was another one on, I think it's Placentia that's coming up, and then we actually paid Wilson finally. And so all these projects, which we've been carrying money over year after year after year, I allocated some other projects this past fiscal year. And so it turns out now all these projects hit. So what I needed to do was look at the individual CIP budgets, figure out the priorities of those projects so that we can pay for a couple of these unanticipated capital or unknown capital projects. And then there were a couple of issues, for example, but let me go through those now. So I guess the first one is Geisler Park. City called and notified us that we had a sinkhole in Geisler Park, which is over off at the end of at the very easternly end of Geisler. Our sewer goes into the OC San regional sewer at that location. And when we put the camera in, we couldn't even get the camera halfway into the pipe. The pipe is in such failed condition. The camera operator would not put the camera in any farther. I want to do some additional inspection work out there before we figure out how to fix it, because I want to see if we can do a confined space entry, get a camera to go up reversal and try to do the last 12 feet of that pipe so that I can figure out the total cost of the project and understand the actual condition of the entire pipe. I'm still hopeful that I could line it, but I'm not very hopeful. That's why I'm asking for a full cost to do a full replacement. But the liner still is not completely ruled out, but it's getting weaker, less likely by the day, I guess I'll say. Iowa Street, as you recall, we had a sewer spill out there. I want to say probably around the holiday time. And when we were cleaning that entire line of all the grease and fog that we found that had caused the stoppage, we got our cleaning equipment caught in a failed sewer joint. It turns out we can line that project. I think it's $10,000 or less to do the work. And so we can get that one done for definitely within $10,000. When working on the fourth project that we're working on the landscaping here at the 342 HQ Landscaping, we had some unknown conditions. For example, when we were digging out here at the, what would this be, the southeasterly corner of the building, I found that the waterproofing on our building failed. And as you know, the soil is kind of piled up against the building. and with the waterproofing to keep the moisture from the soil from getting into our building. When that failed, now the carpeting in that room was getting wet during the rainfalls, particularly last year when we had the big torrential rains. So when we opened up to install the leach drain out here as part of the landscaping to capture the initial quarter inch of rainfall, I asked the contractor to do a change order. And with all the little things here and there for the project, I needed a little extra money to pay for those unknown conditions. And then the last thing, as I mentioned, the 309 city manhole project. Our project budget is short by $68,700 because last year I used some of that money to help offset and pay for the work on Paularino when we were relining that siphon in there. Because that was a $750,000 turned into a $750,000 project. And Mark here was telling me that I couldn't use all the reserve funds. No, I'm kidding about that. But so I had used some of that manhole money to offset some of the costs from Paularino. So anyway, there's 4 projects I need money for. I have listed those 4 projects under the financial review section. I wanna take the money from the 334 Geisler Force Main Replacement Project. So I need to decrease that money by that budget by $224,050. And I need to allocate $68,000 to 309 City Manhole Project. I need to allocate $20,000 to 342 HQ Landscaping Project. I need to allocate and create a new 352 Iowa Sewer Liner Repair Project, capital project. And then lastly, I need to allocate $125,350 to a proposed project 353 Geisler Park Sewer Replacement Project. So there's 3 actions I'm asking from the board tonight. Number 1, adjust the 23-24 capital outlay budget as detailed in the financial review section. I was reading from that chart just a minute ago. Number 2, create new project number 352 Iowa number 135734 sewer grade 5 liner project with a budget of $10,000. A new project number 353 Geisler number 150136 sewer grade 5 replacement project with a budget of $125,350. With that, I conclude my report and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Just one question. When you referred to 16th Street,
Yes.
was that closer to Irvine than it is to Placentia?
It's, I believe it was 220 East 16th in
Oh,
that
east
neighborhood.
side.
It's on the easterly
Okay,
side of
Okay.
16th. Again, I don't know if that will turn into a project or not, but it's very suspicious because it's a very large sinkhole and it's right over our pipeline.
Is that included in this money? That
It is not,
Why wouldn't you ask for that also?
because I don't know enough about it to even ask for how much
So
money
you would come back to it.
I will come back, if I need to create a project, I will come back with another line item during the next budget session. Or if it turns out to be very urgent, we can potentially come back during the board study session in March.
Would we ever consider having the city do that sinking of the pavement? Or we would do it on our own?
Well, it depends on how we make the repair. If we line it, I could ask the city, but I don't think they're very interested in paying for the work. We would have to reimburse them for it, and it's probably less expensive for us to use one of our stable of contractors, because it's not, I don't believe it'll be that big a job, depending on what we find. I haven't even had a chance to get a camera in there yet, because it just came to me this morning.
Okay, sounds good. That makes sense.
I'm just giving you examples of these little things that keep popping up that were unanticipated this year.
We need to take care of any sinkholes, I would believe.
Yes,
As
yes,
soon as possible.
yes, and I would agree with that.
So Mark is asking, the engineer's asking for those 3 adjustments. Does anybody have?
I'll move for approval.
Second it.
For all 3.
Can we do it in one motion with all 3? Yes, for all 3.
Discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with 1 absence.
Thank you, sir.
Go to work. All right, treasurer's report, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. This is your quarterly review of your portfolio. Today, the Dow had closed at 39,069. It was down 62 points on the day. Year to date, the Dow is up 1,503 points, or 4% on the calendar year to date. From a Fed rate standpoint, there's been no changes in the Fed funds rate since last July. The current rate is between 5.25% and 5.5%, but all indications are, or projections are, that toward the end of this calendar year, the Fed funds rate was going to drop to around 4.6, and maybe next year about 3.6, and then the following year at 2.9. But a lot of that is contingent upon how inflation is going to be in check. Over the last 4 years, we saw inflation in 2020 was at 1.2%, then went up to 4.7, then 8% in 22. In 23, inflation came back down to 4.1%. So we kind of peaked, and the Fed's efforts to slow the economy down seemed to be working. In January, it was at 3.1%. The Fed's really targeting their 2% threshold, and that's really going to be kind of the trigger to where they think they may start easing the rate a little bit. Looking at your portfolio, as of January 31, the portfolio was earning 2.626%. That is up 57 basis points in the beginning of the fiscal year. We've had zero investment activity during January. Really, there's, with the rates as high as they are right now, nothing's being called, and many of your investments are callable securities. And so the only time that we're going to see new investing is upon maturity, or when we get our next tranche of annual charges coming in the April timeframe. Then we'll see a little bit more investment activity at that point. From a class update, we did add in November, when we got the first portion of the annual charge, we did add $1 million to class at that point in time. When you had first decided to invest in class, it was in October of last year, and at that point they had $156 million under investment when you entered the pool. Today they have $1.2 billion under investment. So it's really lots of government agencies are jumping on that pool as an alternative. From a rate standpoint, class's daily rate is 5.43%. The last 30 days is 5.45%. So with that, I'm available for any questions you may have. This is an action item. Any questions you may have?
What's going to happen after Super Tuesday?
Get your crystal ball out.
Yeah, I mean, there's there really is a crystal ball thing. I mean, depending on what happens, I think that's kind of a benchmark, Super Tuesday, for what's going to happen in November. I don't know if we'll see any. Who knows what's going to happen even in November? So, on class, I don't know if this ever came up before, but the investors in class, do they have to be members of CSDA, or are they taking investments from across the board?
It can be cities as well.
Okay,
Class
that's what
class is a joint powers authority of CSDA and the League of California Cities. And so between those two agencies, they formed this joint powers authority. So both types, special districts and cities, can participate.
Curious to see what the breakdown is of who's putting money in there. Be curious to. I'm sure I can get that information.
I can certainly find that
A
out.
lot of money in there.
Oh,
in
it's
different districts.
that's huge,
Yeah.
Bobby.
Have we paid for the new sewer cleaning truck? That comes out of the asset replacement fund.
Correct. Yes.
Has it been delivered?
No, not yet. My understanding is going to be delivered in May.
That when we pay, that'll
Yes.
probably be when we pay
Yes.
for it.
Yes, correct.
Generously, do you have anybody who could contribute towards that?
$750,000 tip. No, I don't know what.
All right, so then Mark needs a motion to accept the investment report for the month of January.
Approval.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks, Mark. Counselor, anything tonight?
No, Mr. President, I don't have anything tonight.
Is it appropriate to ask a question about what happened earlier with the request? Can I, just a general question? If the applicant, they're going to small claims court on Wednesday, small claims court, if it's accepted, it is what it is. If the applicant wants to take it a step further with litigation, does she do that before the small claims?
Yes,
Court
she'd have
makes
to
a decision?
dismiss her case in small claims court and then refile in Superior Court. And if she prevails, you still have the right to appeal.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have a right to appeal a small claims judgment. though.
No, you have the right to appeal small claims. She does not. When you choose small claims court, you have to
That's right.
roll the dice with the result you
We-
get.
No matter which course of action she takes, we have a right to appeal it.
That's correct.
Okay. Curious. All right. Any other questions for Alan? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Local meetings. Bob, you want to talk about Sand District?
Yeah, they're beginning, they always have a lot of small projects, rehab projects and, spare parts. They're also, beginning their CCTV. I think they do it every 5 years. I'm not sure what the thing is, but they just, let a contract to get that done. They're still, they have contractors who have suffered in various ways that they make amendments to their contract. Their headquarters complex project is almost done, but it was due to be done and opened in December last year, and they're still trying to get it done. They have some very complex social media stuff that is still holding them up. And they're also beginning to talk about the use of design build for projects, so. And they've just finished the class and comp study, or they're working on selecting the agencies for a new class and comp study.
Are they gonna do like an open house on that thing because,
Unless you're a board member, then.
yeah, can't think of his first name, but Shaver.
Oh, yeah.
He's been offering tours at OCOG.
Well, they'll give the general public tours just about any time.
Okay. that's-
The board had an opportunity to take a tour a month or two ago.
You haven't gotten a tour yet, I take it.
That night I went to another process.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Thanks.
Board meeting is coming up on Wednesday night, so Bob. get
Yes.
reported on that.
Okay.
That's just basically from the operations committee.
Anything from SARFA?
There's no meeting this month.
Okay.
And I'll submit I'll submit it later this week.
Okay. ISDOC, I know you were not at the ISDOC meeting.
Right.
I was there.
My machine wasn't working right.
There. Well, just a quick report on ISDOC. They seem to have a devil of a time getting speakers for their quarterly, and I was asked to contact a program that I had before, a guy by the name of Chris Epting. Chris is a local author and talks about local interest. He does a great program, but one of the members said, we don't want to hear about baseball anymore. Well, last time Epting talked, he talked about the history of baseball in Orange County and some other things. And so they're still looking for a speaker. So if you have any ideas, anybody, good, you go for it. Anything to report from CSDA?
From CSDA?
Yeah.
No, right now, we're just getting ready to go to Palm Springs for the event that's coming up, which is actually the big event of the year. So, I don't have anything to report this time, but I probably will next time. I sit on that committee, but I haven't been at the committee meeting except by Zoom. So
Sounds good. From SDRMA, we did have a board meeting in early February, nothing really to report. I don't think you've got your renewals yet. Or did you? Did you see a substantial increase? Okay, do you mind if I check with Diana just, because I hadn't heard, okay. We have Safety Claims Education Day coming up in March, the end of March, which is a really a 2-day event in Sacramento, which obviously I'll be at, and glad to give a report next month on that. Okay, any other meetings to report on, Bob?
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Being that, actually, there were so many things going on with President's Day and this day and that, so things were canceled, a lot of them. So Waco was on Tuesday, February 29th. No, 20th. So what I did, I actually printed out, just keep passing this, a report to you all. Yeah.
I've never seen this before.
And so that you could be, have a better understanding of what I'm gonna tell you. Now, I think that's yours.
Does Bob get one?
Huh?
Bob doesn't get one?
No, he's got one.
Yeah, that's the one I just
There's
passed.
2
Oh,
pages.
no wonder. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, at this Waco meeting, they decided that they needed to know about speakers and have some speakers on the agenda. So they were talking about all these speakers. So instead of having to write all this to you, I just sent you this so that, you know, you have it all. Does,
You're talking about the Waco planning meeting.
This is the
does it
plan.
have one?
No, we have one.
You all have? one?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we discussed all these speakers to decide, you know, who somebody might want and on this. And then at our next Waco meeting, we will be talking about, you know, individually more of what's, you know, breaking it down. So what I did was I made that list for you so that you have a better understanding, not only of that, but of how to get hold of Waco on the second page. And if you, you know, wanted to, most of it is water, but it's still interesting enough that, you know, we should be involved in it to know different things about it. So I thought this would be a good time to just jot that down for you so that you get an idea of what their meeting is like. And it was a good meeting. They had a lot of people there. But like I said, it's too hard to try to sit here and tell you all this.
Oh,
So,
this is
so you can
fantastic.
look at this list, and if any of you feel like you want to give me another name for this discussion for being on the list, I'd be glad to take it to Waco next time.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Okay.
I went to the actual Waco meeting
Yeah,
at
me
the first
too.
of the month, and it was John Kennedy, the new general manager for the Orange County Water District, and he gave a very detailed discussion of what's going on with the groundwater, and I think 14 or 15 potential projects that'll further enhance the groundwater. Their Orange County Water District is allocating 85% to the 18 or 19 water users. They call them water pumpers. And MODOC basically is MODOC and MWD have been in the past supplying water in addition, either putting it in the ground or delivering it directly, because they can only pump 85%. Well, they are up to 85%. Um, and that was basically because the groundwater replenishment second phase, 130 MGD, went from 100 to 130 MGD. It's in good shape. A lot of those agencies were struck with having wells that had high PFAS, PFAS. And they had to take those wells out of service, and now they're getting their equipment back online. So in March, most of them will be back, pumping out of the groundwater. I thought it was a really good, fun discussion, but especially with my interest in Orange County Water District.
Still have an interest in Orange County Water?
Oh, I love water.
Keep it up.
I'm a Scorpio, which is the water sign also.
I'm a Leo and we eat Scorpios, so.
I'm a Scorpio too. So.
All right, since there are no other meetings, oral communications, I would just once again say, welcome back. So nice to have your smiling face here. Welcome back to Madam Clerk. I know you've had some challenges and we're so happy to, and I'm sure everybody else is so happy to have you back and full recovery and keep it up. Congratulations are in order for Coach Perry. This was a monumental weekend
Yeah.
for Coach Perry, and he never takes credit for anything. He's
Yeah.
such a behind the scenes guy, but to have one of your former players reach the level that Jake Knapp did this weekend. I mean, I coached a lot of baseball and I had 3 of my players make it to the big league. Well, they actually made it to the minor leagues. I guess I can't say the big league. It's so gratifying. And I know you do so much, and congratulations, obviously, to Jake, and congratulations to you, bud.
I have a couple comments though.
Oh, I figured you would.
You have to recognize his family because they were the driving
Oh.
influence since he was 5 years old. When he was 7, he played for my traveling golf team. We played all the different our country clubs. And he was our most valuable player at 7. And he was this 7 to 10-year-old bracket. Then we had 11 to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. But he was our best player. He went to the finals at the SCPGA course out in Beaumont.
Exciting.
From 7 years old.
Yeah.
He played basketball as a freshman. He was only like this tall. He was an awful basketball player, and then he never played again.
Good thing, yeah.
Came in as a freshman, and his brother was a junior, and his brother was the league champion as a junior. But after that, as a sophomore, Jake was the league champion the next 3 years. And then he went on to UCLA, and he played there 3 years. Then he went into the pro ranks and tried to be a pro. And he was successful in the Korn Ferry Tour twice. And this last year, he was, I think, in the top 13. They went on to get their PGA card. So all of the success is based on his family. All I did was drive him to the right places to practice and play. But he was a tremendous athlete. A couple of years we were undefeated. We were like 17-0 and 18-0. But that's because of Jake. Because when we played Long Beach Wilson, they were like the #1 team in the county or in the southern section. They beat us by like 8 strokes, but Jake was 6 under after 9 holes. He had 4 birdies and 1 eagle after 9. It's pretty amazing. And so we almost beat Long Beach Wilson with that score. But now he's an amazing guy, and I think he's the type of personality that could be president of the United States because everybody loves him. He's always working hard to get better.
Yeah, he put on quite a show this weekend. And he has a huge support system. I mean,
Everybody in Costa Mesa knows.
yeah,
Yeah.
something to be proud of. So you had a big part in that. Don't sell yourself short.
Really?
Now you did. Okay. Okay, so we need to adjourn to closed session.
No,
at this point?
I have a
Oh,
meeting.
I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to make one comment.
It's all yours.
First of all, I'm so happy to be back here. And you just don't know. And also, I was shocked because I haven't been here since November. And I thought, as we were driving up, I thought, I sure hope they have that landscaping ready. I hope they got to, and lo and behold, this place looks beautiful. So I just wanted to comment on it, that it looks fantastic. I'm proud of it.
It is
That's all.
something good. Thank you. Okay, we're going to adjourn to closed session, performance evaluation under Government Code 54957 for the general manager.
Conference with labor negotiator.
Oh, I forgot.
Government Code 54957.6.
Thank you, Counselor. I should have brought my glass. All right. Thank you all. Hi, Paul. Okay, so we are reconvened after
We'll get that, but where's Bob?
he had to leave.
So we got 3 members.
Yeah. And the board has given authorization for me to, take care of the, request or the salary adjustment for our general manager. We will bring that back to bring the contract back for approval or disapproval at the March board meeting. Okay, so with that, we are adjourned.